Good morning. This is Patty
Tell
Joe.
you it was a
Hold on a
horrific.
second. I would like to start off by saying thank you for joining me. This is not a new case. This is a parole hearing. I actually found the footage from a YouTuber, Mandoo, Mandoo. Thank you so much. He or she, I think it's he, put up the entire hearing without interruption, and then he comments on the end. And I so encourage you, if you're interested in this or become interested in this case, to take a look at it. Because I'm going to only show portions of it and comment on it. This in the my lower right, but right here, this lady is Miss Thelma Baptiste, and by my research, I believe she is passed away in 2020. I could be wrong. I just did some surface research on the case. Okay, this is the Louisiana Parole and Pardons Board. This is the family of the defendant or the person who's incarcerated for the crime, and also behind here, and here is the defendant, person incarcerated for the crime. I struggled with this a lot because this is very triggering and triggering for me. Um, so, but what I've decided to do is play portions and comment a little, and then I'm going to read from the appeals case, one of the appeals cases. What I'll say in preparation for this is the crime happened on March 11th, 2002. It is very graphic, and the descriptions are very graphic. Where I'm starting in the hearing is after the introductions, which I helped you with a little, and the interview between the parole board and the person incarcerated, who is Charles Butler. Okay. The interview is interesting, but not one of the most important pieces in my view. So again, please, if you want to see the whole thing, I'll tag the other video, so you can see the full video. He struggles with narcissism and inability to really, Charles Butler meet the truth. Wow. Okay. So where I'm going to pick this up is the last thing that they asked him in the interview was he altered in some way by alcohol or other substances, which I find as a very I don't know, distasteful. I mean, are you excusing the behavior if they're anyway? And he said no, no, he was not in fact altered in any way. He was just that evil. So let's see what his story is, which I'm going to struggle not interrupting, but I will do my best.
Crime. So why don't you just tell us briefly what you did to Miss Baptiste and why you did it?
Well, I was getting off from work, and I called Miss Baptiste to let her know I was coming to the car to get a clean uniform out of, because I ain't felt like going to Bell Chase.
Let me give you just a tiny bit more background. Obviously, this was domestic-ish in nature, in that they had a relationship. And the domestic relationship was one in which they lived together. They were no longer in that relationship and they were no longer living together. His assertion is that there were belongings in a car or in the house. Her assertion is that there were no belongings in the house, and we'll sort some more of that out later.
And at that moment, Miss Thelma Baptiste told me, oh, if you see a car in the driveway, that would be Nelda in them. That's some friends of hers, which stay around the corner from us. And I said, well, who? She said,
back here. What kind of relationship were you actually in a relationship with Miss Baptiste on that day?
But we had just left. I really left because of the kid asking me a question.
See, so he can't even answer the question. He has to change it to his own narrative. We saw this in the Darrell Brooks trial where the narrative has to be adjusted to his, I left for the kids. No, the question is, were you still in a relationship? The answer, even in his eyes, is no. He just can't say it because he doesn't, he's not acquainted with the truth.
A question. Isn't it true that you and Miss Baptiste had broken up and she asked you to move out of her home? Had you ever lived with Miss Baptiste?
Yes. All the time.
All the time.
I met her, we lived together.
So on the date that this happened, were you still living with Miss Baptiste?
No, I had left. No, I wasn't living there, no.
Okay. Thank you.
And how long had you been away from that, living at that residence?
I was gone no more than a week. No more than a week.
Look at her shaking
So
her head.
when you say you left, what were the circumstances under which you left?
He can't.
Well, I left because the kid asked me whether I was going to be mad with the mom for not being there, for helping him with his home. I always went home and helped make sure he did his homework. His mom always got off late. And when he asked me
victim blaming, shifting.
He knew about the commotions and all the disagreement we was having. So when he asked me that question, I went on and left.
Okay, thank you. Just left. Okay.
And
take your belongings?
No. The car stayed there, all the computers and the clothes, all that was still in the house.
So tell us what happened the day that you committed the crime.
Well, when I went over there,
if I were to look into a crystal ball and look back on this, I would probably say, with my experience in the fire department, my experience with domestic violence, and my history, I would say there was probably police involvement or some sort of fighting at the end of this relationship. There was probably either police escorting him back to pick up belongings or her just placing belongings out in the front, which, those types of things happen. I'm not sure I'm against either. He's just saying all the things were still there and it was only a week, and he's really reinvented this.
There was a car in the driveway and it wasn't the neighbor's car. Apparently it was some other gentleman's car. So what did you do?
Well, I didn't pay attention to the car at first. I just went to my car and got back to the van. And
then what?
Then the damn light came on and I knocked on the door. And I said,
with his foot.
Open the door. And she said, no, that's something she never told me. So that's when I hit my pocket for the keys, but the keys was in the van running.
How dare her say no?
That's car. That's when I paid attention, it wasn't Melvin in the car.
Melvin in the car. You paid attention to the other car.
I pushed the door in.
Why?
Because the house, well, I was just curious about that car at that time. I knew it was an elder in there. I knew that off the bat.
You knew what? I'm sorry, I couldn't understand you.
I knew there wasn't nail to call who she told me it was for.
Okay. And so why did you push open the door?
I pushed over the door after seeing the car, and I just pushed the door in.
What?
For my curiosity. But something was wrong because she never told me no.
She never told me no. She's never told me no. So I'm entitled to kick her door in or push her door in, as he says it, or force my way in. Ugh.
When I hit my pockets with the keys to the door.
And then what happened?
I just went in there and stared at her. I had to say nothing.
Then what?
I walked towards the bedroom and she said in a very low voice, "No, don't go in there." And that's when I knew. And I entered the bedroom, stood over Mr. Charles.
There was a male visitor in the bedroom, is that correct?
Yeah, and I stood right over him.
And then what did you do?
I left out the bedroom, and then things just started evolving.
I don't want to hear about things just started.
No, I said evolving.
Started evolving.
A gas can?
No, ma'am, there was never no gas can, ma'am.
What did you use to start the fire?
It was a little plastic bottle containing an accelerant and gasoline that I used to cut the grass with on a porch.
A flammable liquid. And what did you do with the flammable liquid?
Well, when I went out there, I took the bottle off. When I walked back into the house, I was going to my right. Someone was coming at me from my right. I don't know who it was. The house was real dim dark. But I know they had their hands out. So when they had their hands out, I braced for a hit, and the bottom went whoosh. The gas came out the plastic bottle.
Okay. The bottle went whoosh, and it just came out. That's just like, the bullet just came out of the gun, or the gun fired without. Oh my gosh. Without me pulling the trigger. Oh my goodness. That's not how it happens. Whoosh.
It was number like a 16-ounce bottle used to fill the lawnmower.
You gotta have fire. Where'd the fire from?
So my intention was to damage the house with fire anyway. But not. But when the person came at me, I squeezed it for a brace.
That's okay. You do know the victim is here.
I can't hear you, ma'am.
I said you do know that the victim is here.
So she's trying to shut him down because he now is completely off track from the truth. He's completely divorced himself from the truth. The bottle, I tensed up because somebody's going to hit me, and the bottle went whoosh. Now he's saying his intention was to damage the house with fire. But if people are inside the house and it is the middle of the night, what do you think is going to happen? I don't know. Maybe I am trying to assign logic to an illogical mind, but she is actually calling him on it and stopping it. She's not going to they're not having this.
You do know, have police reports detailing the fact that you doused that woman with an accelerant and set her on fire. We know that. I wasn't asking you this because I don't know what happened. I was asking you this to see how honest you were going to be.
Yes, ma'am.
And what extent you were going to accept responsibility for your actions. And you kind of failed on both of those points already, Mr. Butler. You have not been honest, and you have not accepted responsibility. So
Okay, so they're not having it. They're not having it. Okay, so let's go ahead a little. I know I'm struggling with this. I'm going to stop here. It's pretty close to where I want to start.
Victim awareness. Tell me.
Okay, So they're questioning him on some of the things that he did in prison, some of the courses or counseling that he has had, and victims awareness is one of them. And they're going to hone in on victims awareness, and that I do want to hear from him.
About victim awareness.
Victim awareness taught me that just because a person does something that that's wrong doesn't mean they in turn need to become a victim. In other words, if a perfect example, if a victim was cheating on her husband that we taught in class, and she goes across a railroad track to see somebody else, but coming home, some guy's gang raping everything. That don't mean, you know, that deserved to happen to her because she was doing other things.
That's what you got out of victim awareness?
And I got a victim awareness that it's basically you got a victim supersedes, you got to be careful how you handle a victim. I learned that a victim may be wrong, a victim may be
Okay. A victim. Oh my God. All right. Lord help this man. Does he know any empathy? The short answer is no. She asks him this. Does he know any empathy? He doesn't. They try to ask him about the injuries, which of course is going to be the burns. She was burned over 70% of her body, from her knees to her forehead. I've seen very, very, very burned people, and that is one injury that I was never really comfortable. I was never really okay with that. It was one of the worst ones I've seen. It's painful. I've been in burn units with my students. What they do is they scrub the people down, and it's painful, and they scream, and no amount of pain medication stops that. And it's a life-altering event. And in my estimation, if my research was correct and she has passed away, it was probably a very much a life-shortening event for her. I'm going to move forward. They let some of his family speak on his behalf. His father speaks, who's in the right in this area here, and he apologizes. I'm going to skip that part. He apologizes. He has a very heartfelt apology. I believe that he does feel shame, and he doesn't really know. I I also really think that families of perpetrators, and especially narcissistic ones, they don't know how to unlove their loved one. And I'm not sure that's an incorrect position. So I feel empathy towards the family. This is the nephew. He speaks, and he's never seen this man out of prison. So in his young mind, he's missing. There's a hole for him in his family. Um, I'm going to try to skip ahead to where his sister, who is here, I believe this is his sister, is testifying for him. And we get a little bit more of a glimpse of, let me see, I think it starts at 20. She speaks for a while, so it's kind of hard to hear her. Okay.
Stand right next to him. Right next to you. Right here. Sorry. Right here. You're fine. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Wow. First and foremost, I would like to say thank you all for giving me the opportunity to tell you how sorry we are. And I'm speaking on for my family member. And I'm sorry, I'm not a public speaker. I'm not a public speaker. I'm not a person who talks before the audience. But I'm going to tell you, when you love someone, you'd be surprised at the things you do for them. Miss Baptiste, my family knows. I'm so sorry. We can't say how sorry we are. Believe me when I tell you, you are in our prayers. If I can change everything, I would. But I can't. All I can do now is just try to move forward and try to help my mom. Just bear with me, y'all. I'm really trying. So I wrote some things down so I can keep my thoughts and I won't forget anything. My mom, I don't know if you can see, my mom was battling cancer. She doesn't have the strength right now to speak to you all. And it's very difficult for her right now, emotionally and physically. It's been a difficult time for us because we love our brother Charles, and my mom needs him. Charles has always been the glue to our family. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, my brother didn't know. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, y'all. We kept all this from my brother, and we definitely didn't want him to find out like this.
All right, so here's where you lose me. I come up on the wave of he has made all of these people his victim. First and foremost, and most importantly, Miss Thelma Baptiste. But his entire family also is a victim of his narcissistic, selfish, hedonistic, self-important behavior. And now look at him crying because now it's about him. So we're going to see now where she becomes in the whirlpool of narcissistic behavior.
Charles have been the glue to this family, even behind bars. Our brother was the glue. Through many difficult family situations, he has been able to pass his own situation and provide for us all. Please let me just get through this. Mama, please.
Me.
Please,
yeah. Now she's even telling her mother.
Charles always been a person, no matter what. I'm sorry.
He's a monster.
I'm sorry. Charles always made us laugh when we all was not having a great day, not knowing actually what was going on with Mom. Whenever Charles' name would come up, even to this day, with family and friends, we still smile because we all love him so much. He has always been Charles has always been a business person with big dreams of owning his own business. He has never been a non-active person, always working hard and determined to be somebody in life. His work ethic is something we all still to this day admire about him. He always had big dreams. He had always been a person of strength for our family. He instilled in us all to always work hard for whatever you want in life and never give up. He showed this through his own actions. Again, being behind the jail cell. What I know for sure is if my brother is free, no, when my brother is let go and able to walk out this place, he will continue that path and continue to go to be there for our family. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to get. When my mom started,
I need you to wrap it up for us.
okay, but let me get to this part. I'm asking
Okay,
you all.
let me get to this part.
Please give us all another chance to be with him. Please give us all. Please give my brother a chance to care and be there for my mom.
I am struggling.
Give him another chance to feel.
I'm struggling to say something like, give Miss Batiste a chance to be at one with like her healthy skin and her immune system.
The hole that has been vacant for so many years within our hearts and our family. Please give him another chance just for us to be together before my mom leaves this earth. We all are imperfect. Please let me just finish. We all are
We're out of time, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
thank
okay,
you all.
thank you. Okay. So 30 seconds to I'm sorry that he did this to you, and 10 minutes to he's the greatest family member and we need him because our family, me.
So much.
Right. We need to hear from Ms. Batiste.
Okay. I am going to give this fine lady her moment. She is the most eloquent person I have heard in a long time. And after having given a victim impact statement, I can say it's not easy. And I do speak in front of people, and I was unable to rise to her level. So let's listen to Miss Batiste.
Ms. Batiste, we're ready to hear from you. You have to unmute your microphone. Can you figure out how to do that? There you
Yes.
go. Good.
Hello. My name is Thelma Batiste. And the first thing I would like to do is to tell you how difficult my life has been since this happened to me. I had 2 sons. My oldest son has passed away. But when this happened to me, they both required therapy. I cannot account for all of the surgeries that I've had. They are endless. The pain that I endured and suffered still to this day. My only wish is for Charles's mother to not suffer because my mom died with cancer. After this happened to me, I allowed Ms. Butler to come to my door. Well, at first she started doing it on her own. She would come to my house, ring my doorbell, stand on my porch and constantly apologize for her son. My therapist told me to stop her from doing that. I did not. I allowed her to do it because I know it gave her some solace and some peace. But I told her I never blamed her. Never. I never blamed their family. I blamed Charles Butler because he had every opportunity not to do what he did. When he drove to my house, when he called my phone at least 15 times to say he was coming, and no, he had no more belongings inside of my home. That's a lie. When he kicked my front door in, when he doused me with that stuff, the gas, when he lit me on fire, those are many, many, many opportunities he had not to do it, and he chose to do it. I am fearful for my life still to this day. I cannot look at an open flame. I still have nightmares. His mother lives 10 minutes from my house. 10 minutes. So can you imagine if you let him out, you don't think he's gonna want an opportunity to pass around here, do drive-bys and see what I'm doing? We don't know what kind of feelings are gonna come up into his mind. Just like the feelings that came up into his mind when he did this to me. So I am in opposition for you all releasing him. I am fearful for my life. My youngest son is 35 years old. When I told him what I had to do today, he hung his head down and started crying. He was very young. The day before this happened, I had 12 little boys here at my house sleeping for my son's birthday. And if those kids had been here when this man set me on fire, could you imagine? But God was with me that they were not there that day. God was with me when I survived this horrible thing he did to me. And I'm asking you all to consider the things that I'm saying. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am, and thank you for your courage to be here with us today and speak to us. Very helpful. Thank you. Mr. Butler, is there a statement you'd like to make to us, the board, before we vote? If you have
I do not know how he will follow that beautiful, eloquent speech.
statement, make it address it to us.
Well, just, again, I'm sorry for all the pain I caused. Again, I can't explain what kind of pain she went through, and I'm very sorry for my actions on that night. If you ask me, you can't make no excuse because I created a victim when I did that. No matter what I was trying to do, I created a victim, and I caused that lady great pain with Paramedic. I caused her family pain. Well, I'm sure had to redirect their lives to take care of her. I'm sorry for her kid. I had no idea what happened. And LeGarry, strong fellow. I hope he continue to be strong with his mama. But again, I had no idea, but I always did. From the time I turned myself in, accept the responsibility of what happened once I had found out what happened.
Once I found, okay,
Accepted-
that's where, okay. Once I had found out what happened. Okay, so this hearing happened in, I don't know exactly what year. This video was put up 7 months ago, so I'm thinking it probably was old then. The crime again happened March 11th, 2002. I believe in the next 2 years he was convicted of attempted manslaughter. It was attempted murder was the original charge. Manslaughter. This is from one of the appeals. So he wants to change the seeking relief the next year for the conviction for which he was a 4-time felon. In the interview, he downplays that. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the facts. These inserts are from the police reports, from the transcripts from the original trial. These are now the facts. Shortly after midnight, March 11th, 2002, Miss Batiste, the victim, was at home with a male friend when Butler telephoned her asking whose car was in her driveway. So he had already driven by, already knew what was going on. He began cursing her and demanding that she step outside. She looked through her peephole and saw his van outside. As soon as she moved her face away from the peephole, Butler kicked in her door. He walked towards her bedroom, but then turned around and walked out the front door, stating he was going to get her. She heard the sound of a can scraping on the front porch and then doused her with gasoline 3 or 4 times and ignited her with a fireplace barbecue lighter he pulled from his pocket. Miss Batiste ran to the bedroom where her male friend helped suppress the fire on her. She telephoned 911, her 5 sisters, and Butler's sister and mother. She remembered the ambulance and the police arriving, but the next thing she remembers is that she was waking up in the burn center at Shreveport, Louisiana. She was burned over 70% of her body from mid-thigh to her forehead. It is stipulated that if Dr. Charles Kelly, one of the emergency room physicians at Charity Hospital who initially treated the victim, were called as a witness, he would testify the witness had burns over 70% of her body. Butler testified at trial that after Miss Batiste let him inside her home that night, he went into the bedroom and saw the man in bed. He testified that he started to walk out of the home. On the way out, he picked up a bottle of gas that was inside, intending to do some damage to Miss Batiste's home. He opened the top of the bottle and the gas went whoosh. So another evolution of his story where he sees somebody coming to him in the darkness and he squeezes the bottle and it goes whoosh, but still the bottle itself goes whoosh. He testified at the same time that Miss Batiste bumped him and the gas spewed on him and Miss Batiste. He further testified that he grabbed the lighter off the table and lit it. When the room ignited, he dropped the lighter and denied taking the gas and the lighter to Miss Batiste's home. And he did not intend to hurt her. Butler gave taped statement 4:38 a.m. on March 11th, 2002, the morning of the incident, to New Orleans Police Detective Fred Bates Jr., and Daryl, and I'm going, Rebay. I'm pretty sure I butchered that, sorry. In the statement, Butler stated that on the night in question, he telephoned Miss Batiste to let her know he was coming over to get some clothes out of the trunk of his car, which in fact Miss Batiste testified was parked in the driveway. So no items were in the home, but there may have been items in the car, which he doesn't need to bother the house at all to get. Butler stated that when he came over and asked to be let inside and was let in, after Miss Batiste informed him she had company, Butler stated he walked to the bedroom where he saw her male friend in the bed. Butler said he turned around and walked towards the front door and stated he observed a can of gasoline inside near the front door. He stated he grabbed it and doused Miss Batiste with the can. Again, another evolution in his twisted narcissistic head. Picked up the lighter and flicked it, igniting the gasoline vapors and Miss Batiste. Charles Sherman, Miss Batiste's friend, who was present at the home that night, testified at trial that he had fallen asleep in the bedroom. He testified that when he was awakened when Miss Batiste came running into the room in flames. He helped put out the flames on her and the fire in the dining room area of the residence. He testified the car was parked in the driveway that night. His car was parked in the driveway that night. So they don't change whatever it is he wants, his relief. Let's see if there's any more in here that's... I don't think so. But basically, those are the facts. Not what he said. I just... To her and her family, and if she's passed away, my condolences. I truly believe this woman is a true hero and a survivor of this. This is what DV does to families. This is how people get caught up, and they say just move on, just move on. Well, she was trying, and look what happened. Bless everybody around you. Do not curse everyone around you. Make your life happy and safe. Comment below. Like, comment, share. If someone you know is in trouble, please reach out to them and show them that you're there. I'll try to collect some resources and put in the comments. Again, thank you to the original content person who put the entire video up. I will link to that if you want to see the whole hearing. Again, I took responsibility for what had happened. I can't end on that note. I would like to end with her courage and her grace, just to remember that, and for me to have half of that. Thank you again, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.